All right, welcome back to the show. Last episode, we broke down how to fit in fitness. We live in a fast-paced world with fast-paced demands on our time and it often feels impossible to fit in your fitness. We discussed actionable strategies to make that happen. Be sure to check that episode out if that resonates with you. If you're new here, this is the Strength in Motion Show, an audio experience to bring education about helping you bring functional fitness and better routines into your life. We are a 24/7 gym based out of Midvale, Western Australia, and our goal is to make functional fitness practical and achievable for people who want to lift, move, and feel better without the classic boring and egotistical gym nonsense. If you do intend on lifting and moving better, well, you better start learning. If you want to get your head around the functional way more, you can start at the beginning of our podcast series of episodes 1 to 5, in which we outlay the foundational pillars of movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. Our YouTube channel is our next destinations with lessons and videos curated to help further support your understanding on how you can train properly towards your goals. Today's episode is about staying lean and the benefits of that. There's a common culture of bulking and cutting where people jump into big phases of eating lots of food to build muscle and then starving themselves to cut fat, resembling stressful bodybuilder diets. There is also another common culture of crash dieting, people going through phases of not paying attention to their health, nutrition, or lifestyle, and once they hit a point where they feel terrible and that sense of urgency is there, then people jump into a fast crash diet to rapidly restore the healthier version of themselves, which is often rarely the case. So today we're going to be delving deeper into getting lean and staying lean. So before that, we introduce our co-host, Navar.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Good. I nearly forgot that this is mostly a podcast for audio only.
Yeah, it's an audio experience.
I had to say something. I was just waving my hand in the air.
Like and you're nodding at the camera. Well, I suppose on YouTube, we actually we're getting 1 or 2 comments on our YouTube channel now. Yes, some random guy. I can't remember what the random guy's name is.
Nice.
But shout out to random guy.
Let's go, guy.
Random guy's name is maybe it's comments. I'll try and find it in the background.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that.
Random guy. Back to here.
Eager to continue these new podcasts and content creation. So Josh and I have started recording our new exercise videos. We have a massive exercise database on our app already for our current members and people that utilize the app. But we're updating it even further.
Yeah.
Doing really in-depth 5-minute tutorials plus some short form content for our organic social media. People that just want some quick, snappy content so that they could absorb.
For the public.
And we're also getting into, which will start next week, is some more no bullshit, straight to the point, branding sort of posts that just really share what we're about and what we do. So a little bit more characteristic and storytelling from us as well.
That is exciting and that's fun to be a part of as well.
Yeah. Yep. And then the final thing is the storm, but I'll let you cover the storm.
Yeah, it was just a fitness. It was just a 15-minute fitness storm.
A storm of fitness.
Yeah. It was honestly just out of nowhere. This just massive storm just rolled through Perth, and it was one of these things that Perth never gets any rain anyway, so it hit the news pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But specifically, just like our suburb, like 2 suburbs down the road, they got like a heavy rain that was no different to other heavy rains. But we just had this wind that was blowing sideways, and our neighbor, we posted on our social media last night, our neighbor's building, their entire signage just tore off and landed in the car park, and there was trees and tree branches everywhere, and our roof had the biggest. It didn't cave in, but for lack of a better term, it caved in. We had a giant water feature of water just plummeting down the walls. Soaked a bunch of the equipment, which was good. Got a bit of a rinse, cleaned our equipment out, and now heaps of our tiles are stained as well.
Yeah. Do you reckon that's from the bicarb a little bit, or?
Yeah, I reckon it's from. I think it's from that other cleaning thing that Sterling was using.
I was concerned about using something like that.
Chuck Sterling under the bus. What I think he's actually done, I think he's used, I don't think he's read the label, and it might be one of those things where you're meant to put 1 cap of the liquid in with the water, a whole litre of water.
Makes sense.
But I don't think he did that. I think he's just used the thing direct.
Really?
Yeah, I think because when he was cleaning it, there's a lot of, it was thick white stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, these looked better when before. So we might have to just take them out and then just rinse them. But I'm going to
maybe you could mop them even.
It's exactly what I was going to say. I've taken the mop home, so I'm going to bring the mop back and just see what we can do. A bit of hot boiling water and some soap. OCM was just suggesting just like try detergent first.
Yeah, nice.
So see how we go. But yeah, that's pretty much the latest in the gym. We've got flooded.
Yeah.
Flooded with gains.
Hey.
Yeah. No, we didn't actually get, but people are getting results. But yeah. Anyway. So we might have to buy some new tiles. But that's all right. Puppy's also going on. I made a note like that. We finally, we're getting into a routine now and a rhythm, and she's been walking this same loop at least 4 or 5 times a week, and she's finally like getting used to it now as well. So I got this farm dog puppy that's full farm dog. She's just super high stimulus, but when I come home now, I just take her for a walk, or I'll take her and Dad for a walk in the morning, sometimes twice a day on a good day, and the routine.
Yeah,
the routine's having a massive impact on her, which is cool. So, that's me and the random life updates. Do you want to tease your mystery item? Have you got your exciting mystery item?
Yeah.
Do you want to drop a hint on what your mystery item?
No, we don't have. It's not the right time for it at the moment.
The right time for it. Interesting. It's Nav's Whoop. No, I'm kidding.
Not again. What about yourself?
Look, mine's definitely related to Josh.
Well, that's helpful.
Well, that's the mystery item.
Yeah.
Speedos. It's an item of mine. It's an item of mine that when you see the item, you're like, yeah, that makes sense that Josh has that item/items.
Hey, 2 Speedos.
2 Speedos. A left one and a right one. So, we're going to get into it. So today we're talking about the secrets to sustainable fitness. Secrets in air quotations to make it fancy for marketing talk. But what we really am trying to get at is there's a theme of the forward and the back, and the theme of the up and the down. And what I mean by that is that many people seem to take that hibernation approach to fitness, where they just have that phase where they're fully focused on it, and they're fully focused on their training, and they're fully focused on their nutrition, and then they just jump back into their old routine or their old lifestyle, or what I call go back into hibernation, like bears do, and then they just let themselves blow out. And we have it in many instances where people they chase that fitness model physique, and then they go back to being a little bit more, for lack of a better term, flabbier. And we've got another one of our members who we're very friendly with, and he just comes and trains really, really hard and works really, really hard, and then he just disappears to another country, which is his home country, and just lives that alcoholic lifestyle, and he's just out and about, and then but he's just here, there, and everywhere, back and forth. And the consistent advice to him is you've got to get into a routine and shift that lifestyle into something that you can enjoy, so that you don't have to feel like you have to escape your lifestyle to go into a new temporary lifestyle of the fitness, and then jumping back and forth. So we're really trying to address that surging of in and out of fitness. We want to teach people a way to get more consistent with it. Nav, you've got a story from one of is an older client?
They're not. They've been with me for a long time, but they're not older. It's a younger person.
Oh, it's a younger person.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see
early
this.
20s.
Early 20s. Who's that?
You're thinking about the next podcast, I think.
Yeah. No, I am. I am actually thinking about it. What do you mean the next podcast? It's coming soon, the next podcast, talking about certain topics.
But I do have a client that I had a conversation with, which I'm eager to dive into today, because his question to me, we're talking about...
His, not her.
No, this is a male.
Fuck, I'm miles away. Don't talk to me, guys. I got no idea.
But he was asking me how I stay capable of waking up at 3:45 a.m. every single morning, how I can do my training every day, do 50 plus hours of business every single week while holding a fantastic relationship. Shout out to my partner as well. That's a two-way street, so it's not all me. But I'm also spending a lot of time with my family, specifically my dad, and building that relationship. And I'm also getting plenty of time with friends and what have you. So there's a lot that I'm doing in my life, and it's all expansive. But he was asking me, how do you do it all? And my first reaction was towards the foundations of the functional way, and also recognizing that I'm capable of holding that energy and pace because I've trained myself to hold that pace. And a part of that is also being lean. Like we'll dive into soon, but having a healthy metabolism, a healthy system allows me to be awake and also sleep efficiently and effectively. And I think that's what I trained towards for a long time, which is what we do here in the SMA in the functional way, is to help people sustain a specific pace that allows them to live their dream life. And for a lot of people, that foundation is actually just losing body fat, gain muscle, and have a stronger foundational physiology and system. So that's kind of why I'm excited for this podcast. 'Cause it was a good chat, because a lot of time being lean is aesthetic focus, right?
Yeah.
People like go to the gym so you can lose weight, so you can look good. You can have 6-pack abs to look good.
Yeah.
But why not have a 6-pack abs as a reflection of a healthy metabolism, of being healthy and fit and wealthy and an array of energy and well-being within yourself. So it was a good conversation, because he has been at the gym every single morning since. Every single morning since that conversation he's in. And he's like, oh, okay, he gets it. He understands like that. The return on investment of those 30 to 60 minutes every single morning will allow him to then have more energy, more in his cup to feel outwards to his partner and family and everything like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I rate that quite a lot, because that resonates with me in terms of, I think many young people just get into fitness because they're chasing the aesthetic, and they want just that general image of like, oh, okay, if I lift weights, I'm going to become more toned or become more muscular or whatever.
That's me.
That's
how it started for me, really. Kind of.
Well, for most of us, but what does happen is the people that aren't purely focused by aesthetics are the ones that genuinely are able to stick to it, because then they're actually able to derive the enjoyment of being lean, not from an aesthetic, an egotistical standpoint, but more from oh fuck, I feel better. I feel better. I feel more energized. For some reason, I don't have to drink as much coffee or caffeine during the day. I feel more able. And what happens is, it's so common, many people are under eating, and when we get them to eat more, they're like, fuck, I'm even hungrier and hungrier. And they're like, good. And they realize they can eat a lot of food, but then they've given their body the permission to consume that food regularly, and their body gives them that energy back, which means they can have a higher output because their body is fueled and it is nourished, rather than going from overfueling to underfueling to overfueling to underfueling. And that just fucks the metabolism. So let's talk about some of the actual benefits of what it is to have a lower body fat. So as far as numbers go, the general range of body fat percentage is 10 to 15% for men, which is considered low/lean, and then for females it's generally 18 to 22, and in my personal experience I'd even go up to 24 to 25% for women as well, depending on how much muscle people are holding on their bodies as well. But that's just those general numbers that we are talking about being lean. So obviously the first thing is just higher testosterone. And this is generally seen as higher testosterone in men. And then for females, we don't necessarily say higher estrogen or higher testosterone. For women, we say more balanced. Their hormones are more, their estrogen estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, because women also need testosterone. We're not going down that rabbit hole, but they do. So having balanced hormonal profiles for the females, and then for men being balanced but higher testosterone, it really shows that you can have, by having that less visceral fat, there is a term called aromatization, which is the conversion of testosterone to estrogen. So basically what we're saying is, the less fat you have, the easier it is for your body to produce testosterone, and the more you generally have. But then the more fat you have, the easier it is, and the higher the likelihood of your body converting your testosterone into estrogen. And it's also referred to as estrogenic fat. And so your body's actually diverting its energy towards different processes that are taking away from your energy that you need for the day. But then it's also exacerbating that lifestyle and that physique of just holding on to more body fat. So it's a bit of a like a double negative, I think, as well. And then obviously with women with the moderate body fat, which is what we want. If women are too low, as we see from bodybuilding, for example, or these crash dietings when they try and get too lean, we actually find that their hormones are just heavily unregulated and they're all out of whack. And that doesn't just improve your energy levels, it also improves your general immune health, your general function of your skin health. And then there's a lot of other biomarkers that actually drop, and especially your menstrual cycle is something that should be heavily nurtured, and it's still commonly ignored in our culture. It's getting more and more popular, but I think as far as the masses goes, it's still just train hard and just deal with it.
It gets in the way. Menstrual cycle, who needs that?
Blood, yuck, you know. Nav, talk to me about cortisol.
Yeah, so high body fat percentage is associated, higher body fat, just the amount of body fat you have on you, is associated with higher baseline cortisol. So your cortisol is your stress hormone, and then that's going to create more fatigue, poor sleep, and slower muscle recovery. So lower body fat is going to give you the adverse effect, the opposite of that. So if you're within a healthy range, and we're going to stick with actually most likely body fat percentage because it is specific to the individual. And what the body fat percentage is the relationship between your lean muscle mass, your lean muscle tissue, and your body fat. So then that way it allows us to identify how much body fat that individual's meant to hold. Far greater than something like a BMI, which is quite a basic...
An old metric.
Yeah, basic metric or metric. So lower body fat percentage within a healthy range of body fat percentage supports stress resilience. So your ability to control your nervous system, not only to relax, but also to move into stress, which is what I was talking about earlier about my client, is having these basic foundations like the functional way, movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress, getting yourself into a healthy body fat percentage then allows your physiological system, your body, to allow you to move into more stress, whether it is something physical or whether it's something like business or having a crucial conversation with a partner or a friend or whatever. It allows you to be more confident, more energetic, and perform in all aspects of life, not just the gym.
Now, insulin sensitivity is another one that we talk about as well. When you have a high amount of carbohydrates going into the diet commonly, your resistance to insulin goes up. Now, hopefully I don't get this wrong. You might be able to correct me if I get it wrong, but insulin is a transporter of glycogen in the body.
Into the cells. Yeah,
into the
mostly,
cells.
Yeah.
So your body produces insulin.
Correct. To transport.
To take the glucose cells through the
glycogen mostly.
The glycogen.
Yeah, mostly everything turns into glycogen, then it moves the glycogen through.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. I think the analogy that in a really basic video I watched with a client was that insulin's like a bus.
Yeah.
And then when your body eats, it's like all these people that are little sugar cells effectively that they get broken down into the body, and the individual people have to go around the transport system, the bloodstream, to certain areas. Yeah. But if there is constant amount of sugar / people that need to be transported, I think the body just stops producing insulin.
And then becomes resistant. It doesn't produce enough insulin to then move the glycogen.
There you go.
Which is ironic because it's been created by eating a lot of sugars, mostly, or food in general.
That makes sense. Yeah. So basically, when you have a lower insulin resistance, your body's able to use carbs more effectively. And this goes back to that statement we said before, is when people are like, oh, I'm eating more, but now I'm hungrier more. But being hungrier more allows them to eat more, and it enables that cycle, which people generally believe that that's going to make them fatter or larger because they're eating so much more. But their engine is running more efficiently, that it's giving them the ability to work more, whether that's work by exerting calories through thinking or actually moving / lifting and training as well. But people are actually, we find that are losing more weight are actually eating more, and it's more effortless for them to actually have their outputs, which is their work or their training and whatever that is. So having a lower body fat reduces your insulin resistance, which actually takes you away from having energy crashes, because your body is supporting itself with the production of insulin and glucose, carbs. It's using energy more efficiently. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of that because I don't even know it well enough, should I say. So that's what we want to be having with insulin sensitivity. And Nav, I've got a note here about dopamine as well. Do you want to share on how it helps with higher dopamine and motivation as well.
Yeah, beautiful. So lower body fat percentage increases your dopamine receptor sensitivity. So leading to higher motivation, focus, and well-being. Receptor, as in it allows us to receive the dopamine far more effectively. And then dopamine is known for motivation, focus, and well-being, which is why it's also the addiction drug.
Yes,
you know, like
it's the molecule of seeking and the molecule of more.
Yeah, exactly. And so if someone has an addiction, whatever it is, a lot of it is tied to the receptor dopamine itself.
There we go.
So excess body fat is linked to the dopamine resistance, and this is where the addiction comes into play because the baseline changes, and then over time we become resistant to the dopamine itself, making it harder to feel motivated, and then we fall into the cycle of trying to eat more or do more drugs or gamble more, be on our phone more.
Gambling
and
drugs,
on our phone,
drugs and gambling.
Stay up late at night watching Netflix, you know, that is a dopamine release. And then the baseline changes, the resistance increases, and then we struggle to find it more, but we have a memory of gaining it from that thing, and then we keep trying to chase it and trace it, but we don't really get it. We've all been there before, as you could tell. I've been there because I'm so aware of it.
You're a human. You're a human with technology.
Yeah,
that is designed to steal our attention. Sorry, it's not designed; it's optimized. To steal our attention. So, in summary, we just discussed hormonal benefits for having a lower body fat. We mentioned that 10 to 15% and 10 to 15% is low. Like, that's athletically low as well. You can get below 10%, but 10% is pretty low for men, and then 18 to 22, maybe even 24 to 25% for women. And we just mentioned that you have benefits of better insulin sensitivity, higher testosterone, you have a lower cortisol, and then higher dopamine and motivation. Let's discuss the mystery sound. I'm scared.
We go from... You go first on the top left. Should we do left to right?
It looks like it's the same as last time.
Probably, eh? Oh, do we need to be aware of something? I can't remember what it was. Let's check it out.
It's on full volume, so...
We're quick. Nothing to be quick upon.
All right.
That down.
All right, next one?
Yeah.
I just like anime and I love Pokemon. And I like
this. This is old news.
Yeah.
I think all these are old. Maybe we should...
We have to create our own, eh? Or maybe get someone to do them for us.
Yes, we can outsource it.
Yeah, and then we won't even know what's coming up. We'll find out.
Oh, that's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
We'll get, I reckon, like, I was going to say Brittany from the gym. She loves Taskmaster. She would love that. Brittany, can you do this thing for us? She's like, absolutely. Okay, thanks, Brittany. Or thanks, random listener. Who is, when we pause the cameras, I'm going to find out who this random guy is. It might even be a member, but I don't know. But someone's commenting on our podcast on YouTube and loves it. They're like, love this episode, guys. And thanks, something, 771 or whatever. All right, cognitive benefits of lower body fat. And we're talking about better brain performance. So generally the brain is designed for thinking and memory. So what do we know? Cognitive benefits of low body fat means better memory and faster thinking. And that is because lower body fat reduces inflammation in the brain, which just effectively means less distraction. The brain is less focused on its own healing, and it's looking after itself rather than it can just focus on its actual output. So leading to a sharper memory and faster problem solving, which is really, really good. And this is just a bit of a nerdy thing that I found in the research, but fat cells release pro-inflammatory cytokines. Now, I know that anything that is, I think it's cyto, they're all little cells that go around patrolling. Is that right? Am I getting that wrong?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. All I know is a cytokine is a inflammatory substance.
Maybe I'll look it up on the break as well, but because things like lymphocytes, for example, lymphocytes are little cells that patrol the lymphatic system and they just kill shit.
You're probably right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's fucking cool. If I was a cell, I'd be a lymphocyte, maybe. I don't know what I'd be. Maybe a poo particle or something. Just like the fastest sperm ever. Just like running the ultra marathon sperm. Anyway, so what happens is that can slow your brain function when there's in excess, which then links to depression. But then the thing about that is depression then can lead to binging, and binging can lead to sugary things, different like going on social media, but also just like the comfort of food, which starts to enable that cycle of then bring you from that more leaner side of life to just having habits of someone that isn't lean when they're binging on food, or they're having an unstructured consumption of carbohydrates or sugar or whatever, and that really turns into a one-way highway to being less lean, right? What else, Nav, is linked to cognitive benefits of lower body fat?
I'll go with more mental energy and less brain fog. So excess body fat worsens blood sugar swings, which causes brain fog and mental fatigue. So this goes back to insulin again. Diabetes, right? So you got type 1, type 2. Unfortunately, some individuals are born with diabetes. So the same foundational behaviors are important in regards to creating insulin sensitivity. But as we're aware, when you're diabetic and you have these blood sugar levels that are low because insulin isn't being produced and the sensitivity, you're not sending the energy correctly through the cells into the body. That's when some diabetes might have like a low blood sugar crash, which is why they always need sugars on them and stuff like that. So same thing applies, is if you have excess body fat, insulin sensitivity goes away, resistance increases, and so you're going to be more mentally fatigued and brain fog as well. So staying lean keeps energy stable, preventing afternoon crashes, which is why if you're diabetic, the most important thing you could do is get lean.
Yes. Which also, getting lean is not an overnight thing as well.
Just
instantly overnight, starve yourself.
Wake up lean.
Exactly, just born lean. Well, some people actually, that's arguable, as most people are born reasonably lean anyway, right?
Well, some people, which I was talking about earlier when you were talking about insulin, is it's, the annoying we're those annoying people probably, but those people that can't eat cake, or they can't eat sugar, or they can't eat these things, and they're controlling their food really minutely, because if they do eat these foods in their current state, they're probably going to gain weight, they have inflammation, they have all these issues. People like us that are lean and very active, we get away with that a little bit more. Ironically, we don't do it because that's what allows us to be here. So the irony is like, yes, we could, but we don't allow ourselves. Now and then we would. But that's what I was thinking about initially.
It's like the analogy of you don't get rich by spending money. It's a different lifestyle habit of doing that.
So you get rich, and it doesn't mean you're going to be spending money, because the habit of getting rich is not spending.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the thing that and I get that.
Unless you win lotto. But that's why a majority of people that win lotto go poor.
And it's no different to what we talked about in previous podcasts of the Biggest Loser contestants. There's not enough time for them to change their psychology and lifestyle, that they go from... Biggest Loser effectively a crash diet competition. Probably why it doesn't air anymore, because people know.
I think it was like 80% of them or something ended up gaining more weight than when they went back on it, and experienced high depression, anxiety, a lot of mental issues. And it was, they created their own website. I can't remember what it was, but it was like this website where all previous contestants, they were sharing their stories and the negativities of the whole experience.
Try and find it. Before we have a little camera break, I'm just going to touch on, again, just lower risk of depression, anxiety. Now, there is so many things that factor towards a reduction in depression, anxiety, or also factor towards an increase of depression, anxiety. But from a non-egotistical and self-image lens, you can still have a lower risk of depression, anxiety, because of lower chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is also exacerbated by poor food choices, where it's like foods that are high in sugar, high in alcohol, dairy, or did I mention gluten? Or gluten as well. These are just these common things. And just really any sort of processed food that's full of ingredients that just doesn't need to be there. The fillers and the these other anti-caking agents, all of those add to chronic inflammation, and especially if these foods are consumed during a binge window, that also leads to the body just being super lowly energized. And if the body has low energy, or the brain's distracted healing itself, the body's distracted healing itself, it is unable to be happy. It doesn't have the energy or the resources to look after, to be vibrant, should I say. So, and we're back from another camera break. All right, Nav's turn.
Oh yeah, I'll go from here. 3, 2, 1.
Can't. I sensed it. Sensed it coming.
Beep.
Beep.
All right, we'll keep it there. We got one more. One more.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk to you about our functional metabolism framework. So the functional metabolism framework is something we just kind of made up for the purpose of this thing. It's just organized pieces of information to help you get your metabolism to being functional. The first thing around that is building your meals around protein. And we've made a note here called timing strategies, but what we're trying to say is build a routine, right? The functional metabolism is that what happens is people always come to me and they go, I'm in a calorie deficit, I'm trying to lose weight. They're in the mindset that they must lose, therefore, in order to lose, they must eat less. They must remove. And that's not always the case, especially when it comes to nutrition. That kind of works if your metabolism is healthy already. If your metabolism's not healthy, then the goal is to get it healthy. What do we mean by healthy? It means when food comes in, it knows what to do with it. Yeah. People that, for example, they avoid carbohydrates. They go, I can't eat carbs because I'm trying to lose weight. And they will successfully lose weight. And as we also know, a lot of water weight that they'll lose when they cut the carbs out. Yep. And then when they reintroduce the carbohydrates, they just start holding on to more water again because the body wants to be more hydrated, the muscles want to be more hydrated, but then their body is still it's inefficient of breaking down carbohydrates. But when you start having regular protein, regular carbohydrates and regular food and nutrients coming in, the body gets more and more and more effective and more efficient at breaking those down and distributing those nutrients around the body. So having a routine where you're actually not skipping your main meals. Your main meals are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Many of people can reach all of their calorie targets, nutrition targets with those 3 meals. Yeah. And then for people like, myself and Nav that were probably wanting to hold on to more muscle mass, then there might even be a 4th or a 5th meal that's also part of the schedule. But the way I like to do things for myself and my clients is build the routine first. So as far as protein, Nav, what are your favorite proteins that you have for yourself and recommend for clients?
Steak and eggs, lamb and eggs, mostly like ruminant meat that are high in nutrients, which is what we're getting at is you want to provide your body with nutrients above all else.
Dead animals.
You could eat a whole 10 bags of Cheetos and still be hungry, but it's not because there's also an effect of like dopamine and stuff in the Cheetos, but it's also because the body's still craving nutrients.
Yes.
It might be dehydrated or still craving nutrients, but if you provide it with real protein, with fats included, as well as carbs, depending on where you're at within your journey, you're going to feel full and you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
So red meat and eggs because you get protein and fats. And a lot of my clients, a lot of people I work with or have worked with, initially lacking those two: healthy proteins, healthy fats.
That's good. I want to just add in a pet peeve of mine that has come in. So I train a lot of people, and I also run classes at the gym. So we get a lot of people that aren't explicitly clients of mine, but just for the sake of that class, they're my client. And a lot of people come in, and at the end of the class, they're a bit woozy and they're a bit dizzy, and because they look flat. And my pet peeve is that I used to ask them, have you eaten today? And they say yes. And then I would be like, okay, well, maybe you need to train harder or whatever. But now I don't ask, have you eaten today? I ask, what did you eat today?
Every time.
Not have you. And that's a pet peeve because people were like, yeah. And I couldn't believe that because I live in my world of understanding nutrition more than most people. And when I ask normal people that are beginners to the gym, they just think that their fucking cracker that they had, or they just had
with 3 coffees.
Yeah, 3 coffees. Oh yeah, I had a macchiato or something. It's got milk in it. And I'm like, fuck me. There's no. They're like, 70 calories in it. I'm like, that's not a lot. Yeah. That's nothing. And
had a roll from the deli, and it was just a roll. Just bread with 1 slice of ham and a slice of cheese and tomato and lettuce.
That's an extra trigger. Well, did you have some protein? I had a ham sandwich. I'm like, there's like
5 grams of protein.
There's nothing in there. It's a slither. It's a slither of ham. So anyway, it gets me, but that's just me forgetting what how misinformed people are,
Yeah,
but that is a pet peeve of mine. And if you just remember that, imagine virtual Josh is quizzing you, what have you eaten? Like, you've got to be eating meals. You have to be eating meals. A banana doesn't cut it, or a cracker doesn't cut cheese and crackers. I know many people love cheese and crackers.
I love cheese and crackers.
But it's not a nourishing meal.
Yeah, I have it once every month or something like that.
Honestly.
If that.
Yeah, it doesn't count as fuel. It is just not enough fuel. You have to eat to satisfy what your body needs, rather than just that short-term hunger, rather than just eating a snack anyway. So, in summary, the functional metabolism framework, point 1. Protein requirements is building meals around protein and whole foods, not fucking crackers. And then eating those main meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not exclusive, but people love to skip breakfast because it's an easy thing to skip. But there's many alternatives, and there's many fast alternatives that still are healthy and nourishing for breakfast, but that gives your metabolism a job.
Yeah.
You got to give your metabolism a job to do in the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, at the end of the day. Ideally, there are some times where you don't have to do that, but ideally, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that is the frequency. That's the very first pillar, getting that frequency of food timing in, so your metabolism becomes more regular.
Yep.
Number 2, NEAT optimization. What the fuck does NEAT... No, I'm not going to press that button. What does NEAT stand for, Nav?
Well, I know this really well. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
No, I'm going to...
Which is, so non-exercise, exercise... I'll start this off with kind of what was Josh talking about before, the hibernation process, which hilariously was making me think of whack-a-mole for a moment. Like, you have the pillars of the functional way, and a mole pops up, then goes back in for hibernation, comes up. You know what I mean? Instead of like the moles actually just coming out and hanging out and successfully doing all of it, you know. But non-exercise, so a lot of people have this belief that, I went to the gym 3-4 times this week for 60 minutes with a specific intensity, which is fantastic. So that alone, with this half-assed nutritional plan where they maybe follow it like 40% of the time, they're thinking that is more than enough. But you need to also work on the non-exercise activity, which is what you do outside of the gym. And that could be activity with like going for hikes or going for walks with your partner, or it could even just be getting your daily steps in throughout the day. It could just be, maybe you already have quite an active job, and if you do, this probably isn't for you. Like, if you're quite active in a labor job, then, as most of them are, they're quite lean already because they're exerting a lot of energy without their exercise. But if you're maybe like a desk sitter, or you're doing a job you don't get a lot of steps, build up your non-exercise activity. Not just go to the gym, but also get your steps in. Maybe have a little sport to help build up that energy up a little bit more. But these are ways to help also improve metabolism, because these are like your slow, steady state metabolism. This is like instead of like spiking and dropping, it's this consistency within your metabolism and your nervous system, which will also improve all your hormones, metabolism, which will then improve muscle mass, drop body fat, a whole cascade of effects.
Yeah.
So build a more active lifestyle.
Yeah. Number 3 is sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep. We want to have quality protocols.
Yeah.
So protocols and routines can be used interchangeably, but I think just protocol is such a sexy word, sleep protocols rather than sleep routines, even though it is sleep routines. But what we want you to be doing is listening to episode 3, I think, movement, nutrition, sleep. Before.
Because we had the intro.
Yeah. Episode 4 of the podcast is where we fully break down sleep, and then I think there's even another podcast that we might have done that had sleep in there as well. Maybe we've done 2 podcasts.
I think we did a more intermediate one as well, didn't we?
We definitely did.
Into the hygiene of sleep on one episode.
We did that on episode fitness for body composition, strength gains, fit after fam, nutrition, goal setting, stress structure, addiction, motivation, anxiety, core wellness. Episode 4 is definitely sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe we haven't done a second sleep one.
Interesting.
15, 16, 17. All right, maybe we need to do another sleep episode. Oh, no, episode 23. It's right there, sleep and stuff. There we go. So it's actually a very recent episode is sleep. So episode 4 and episode 23 of the SMA podcast is where we delve into sleep quality protocols. But in summary of those, it is between 7 to 9 hours of sleep, regardless of how old you are. That also includes the understanding that we're talking about actual sleep, not in bed, because there's always time, there's variance of the time you actually commit to then going to sleep, and then there's the variance of the time it wakes for you to actually wake up as well. So you got to generally give yourself maybe like a 15 to 45 minute window, depending what your routine is, if you'd like to go to bed and read before whatever. So you got to give yourself that variance in time, as well as finding a more stricter, consistent bedtime as well, so that you're going to sleep within, we like to encourage a 30-minute variance, which means that between each of your consecutive days, there's within a 30-minute variance of you waking up and going to sleep, to have that regularity. And Nav, do you want to give me just a couple of key ideal habits to have, actual things that you can do both before and after waking up to improve sleep?
The first one that comes to mind is a nice shower, like before and when you wake up.
Like a big golden shower.
Took me a little while to pick up on what you meant. Shows the If that helps you fall asleep, however, you don't want it to be too exciting.
Yeah, no, you'd be arousing.
Exactly. So having a nice shower. If you're really hot before going to bed, then maybe most likely actually having a warm shower could help a little bit. Not too cold, only because if you have a cold shower, it will warm up your internal system.
Yeah.
And so being mindful of that before going to bed. For some people, that could be beneficial. So play around with the shower of your liking, and same in the morning, depending on the response that you want to have and where you're currently at.
Yes.
So nice shower, darken your room, make it as quiet as possible, and get it to a nice room temp that allows you to relax and fall asleep. In the low 20s is normally recommended for low 20s in Celsius degrees.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'd imagine 22 to 24.
Yeah.
Very good. I think we've got the aircon in here at 22. Oh, hey, 22. Nice. Yeah, we're just looking after the Eskimos by global warming and stuff. And then the last one is just being hydrated. Very, very hydrated. So we want to be hydrated in 2 ways. Now, hydrated in the classic sense of being hydrated, of fluids going in, and hydrated in the non-fluid going in context, which is actually being a mover. Movement in the body encourages circulation, and so when we talk about from a physical standpoint, hydration within the body of the joints and the muscles and what we call the tissues, that really keeps inflammation low. And then when we talked about inflammation is lower, then we're in a better chance to have a healthy metabolism, have a more functioning immune system, and therefore we can gain muscle, burn more fat. And that's what we talk about, being low in inflammation. But then in the common hydration, we generally want to be having enough fluids going in and a high amount of nutrients going in as well. So it's not just water, it's also your minerals and nutrients, your electrolytes, the sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, chloride, phosphate, there's some more electrolytes in the list. There's more, but there's the main ones anyway. Yeah. But you want to be having those as well. So we want to be having just a healthy metabolism supported by good hydration, as I've just finished in the background drinking my electrolytes because I was just actually feeling a little dehydrated. And I miss, if I don't have electrolytes as part of one of my daily drinks, I'm not as happy. Yeah. So anything you want to add to hydration as well, Nav?
No, perfect. I like you also covered the movement aspect of hydration as well, because I think that's a key part, because the tissue is part of the endocrine system, which is part of the hormonal system.
There we go.
Well, it is the hormonal system, and so hydration through tissue, movement through tissue does impact your hormones, which in turn impacts your metabolism.
Yes, absolutely. And we've talked about tissue hydration in other podcasts as well, but just to recap that You can't just drink more water to make the body more hydrated. You actually have to be full of nutrients and minerals through hydration and nutrition. And then you've got to be moving regularly, because it's the moving regularly, whether it's walking, playing sport or exercising or jogging, whatever it is, whether it's gentle movement, hard movement, the physical act of moving, muscles contracting and relaxing, pushes lots of fluid around the body. The actual, I don't know how to describe it. We're like this giant bubble, we're this giant fluid sac, and that is separate to drinking water. So anyway, some common mistakes to avoid. Number one is skipping breakfast, right? So this is what we were talking about before, is that the less you use your metabolism, the less it functions. And so when they gear away or they steer away from when they steer away from eating meals and consuming food, they're actually making their body less efficient with breaking down food, and they're making themselves more unfamiliar with the things that are required to have the metabolism functional. So it is important to actually start exercising and ensure you're adhering to a decent exercise schedule, and ensure you're adhering to a decent routine of food consumption, where you, again, are having breakfast, lunch and dinner, because the metabolism is, I just call it another muscle. And there's a term in muscles, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that basically means muscles that you don't train or exercise, they just get weak or super tight or short or whatever. They basically function in the way that you don't want to function, which is dysfunction. So the same thing as the metabolism, you want to give it a reason to work. And that is initially by eating foods. And you can start, if you're really concerned, you can start with low calorie foods. It just gives you a job. It gives the metabolism a job. We also want to talk about when calorie deficits don't work. So Nav, can you give us the rundown of, what's the term called? Is it metabolic damage, or the metabolic damage term of when people stop? It's common out of bodybuilding when they go through big phases of dieting and then they stop eating, or they stop their I'm struggling here. They stop their competition.
Yeah. So
their training
the
build.
bounce back effect, right?
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. So your metabolism adapts, right? So does insulin. We already talked about that earlier. So we could increase insulin resistance by eating a lot of sugars or a lot of foods that will then turn into glycogen in the body, and the body can't produce enough insulin to move it. It could also be that we don't provide it with enough food, that then it doesn't need insulin to do its job, and so that slows down that process. And the same thing applies to our metabolism, because the metabolism is a process of everything. So like, look at metabolism as a byproduct, a result of how everything is moving within the body. And so if you're not moving food through the body, if you're not moving nutrients through the body, everything is impacted by that. And so if we're not actually moving any of that process going on, the metabolism is going to adapt and it will slow down, because there's no need for it to be going. And the goal is to, like Josh was mentioning, have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner, slowly increase calories to what should be your healthy personal metabolism, which is your total daily energy expenditure. And so that's a makeup of environment and exercise, current situation, hormones, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, metabolism adapts. So you can't just be like, oh, I have a slow metabolism or fast metabolism. Absolutely, possibly in this current moment, but that does not mean that that is you forever. It's like experiencing an emotion. The emotion is not who you are. It's just an experience of the emotion. Same thing as your metabolism. So metabolism changes, guys. You could change your metabolism.
So slow metabolisms are temporary, and you don't always have a slow metabolism. You just often have a resistance to having a routine and structure in your life. So that is enough with that. We just want to make sure that you understand that we're emphasizing, in order to get a healthy metabolism, you start by committing to a lifestyle routine. The lifestyle routine is really that foundational thing where you are eating regularly and you're choosing to spend more time paying attention to your lifestyle, your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which means you're having a more active lifestyle. And then when you choose your foods, they are more naturally nutritious nutritious. Then when you're in that space, then you can focus on refining the meals and organizing having like a meal prep day, or actually having this particular meals, or going more down what the bodybuilding world has had with macro, like calculating with MyFitnessPal and nutrients and all of those things. You can go down further down that rabbit hole, but it starts by having a good routine. So we're going to have a quick little camera. We don't need a camera reset. I reckon we can go through it. Let's look at some clips.
Beautiful.
Let's look at some clips. Now, I actually want to just jump in and go back through this one if I can before we go to this one.
Yeah.
And it's just, you guys don't know what this one is. But on my screen, so we're going to have a screen recording. This is not a video, but I just out of curiosity, I just jumped on YouTube and I said, I put a video in, search for staying lean, and everything that came up, the very first thing that comes up, this is a different ad, but this is take a 1-minute quiz and get daily somatic yoga for your goals and body type. And then it's like, I even lost my stubborn belly. It's surprising how stress can affect a woman's body. I highly recommend this 28 somatic yoga challenge for every woman. And it's just got this woman and I'm going to screenshot that just in case this ad goes away. But this entire YouTube search is all targeted at everybody's insecurities. It's like, I don't know why I'm getting a women's 28-day challenge. The next one,
why.
The simplest way to stay lean forever as a natural. How to get lean and stay lean forever using science. Combat training program. There's Andrew Tate, what I eat to stay lean. There's some girl with a booty, what I eat to stay lean while still something. Greg O'Gallagher as well. This guy's been around.
Keno Body.
Yeah, Keno Body. And it's just non-stop. It's just ads and ads for like daily, most important advice for getting lean. Do this or stay average. How I stay all year lean all around. I get it. These are really great terms that actually get views and grab attention. But everything is still fully focused around the aesthetic, and it's just all these people of just being super shredded, tensing or whatever, and it's just I don't know. I think it's always going to be like that, but it's a shame that that's what
the priority is.
What the priority is, yeah. And what would also be interesting is if you should try. I'm pointing at the camera viewers. You should try searching staying lean, and I wonder how different your search would come up if I searched staying lean to what your search will come up with. Yep. So that's less of a clip reaction, but I find that very interesting. Now, do you want to bring up your Thomas DeLauer?
Yeah, I might as well. So this is what inspired me for this anyways, because a lot of people focus on the exercise and nutrition as ways to stay lean. But this video, Thomas DeLauer, he talks about everything else outside of that, which I think is equally important. I think the exercise, nutrition, and these habits are equally important to one another, although I probably would say foundationally having your nutrition and exercise routine is really important. But let's dive into it. I only cover a few of them, and then we'll dive into what the rest are.
People that stay under 10% body fat do a lot of this. Number one, without thinking about it, they do a lot more neat. They walk a lot more, they do the dishes more, they're just flat out more active throughout the day. They don't go overboard on their added dietary fats. They prioritize that protein intake like crazy. They embrace a little bit of hunger because they know it doesn't mean they're starving. It means things are working. They go to bed at consistent bedtimes.
I think I'll leave it there because I love that one. We're talking about hunger earlier, and I even had this conversation with my beautiful fiance, Oceane, but she's now embracing a hunger that she used to have when she was a kid. She was talking about how she used to be hungry as a kid, and she remembered being hungry and actually wanting to eat food and enjoying food, but along her journey of going through insecurities and being a young girl and going through school and all these like misinformation and social media blowing up, like you mentioned, the searches of you got to be lean, you got to have ab lines as a female, etc., whatever it is. But she lost that hunger, and that hunger, like Thomas talks about, is a sign that your metabolism is working. Hunger is good, and so it's important to learn how to embrace that hunger. But quickly to sign off, he dives into consistent bedtime, little or no alcohol. Carbs are okay, just got to find out whatever works for you, and that's through exploration and experiment. And hydrating. So very similar to what we were talking about today, but definitely recommend checking out that and following through on those habits. They're basic foundations and habits that will improve your metabolism.
Yeah, that's very good. And then last one I'm going to bring up is actually, this is more of a Perth thing. So there's a guy called Ben Cousins. He was Benny C. Benny Cousins is ideally a well-known AFL player, a footballer, but he's still quite active on social media. And now this video we're looking at, it's just him training, right? But it starts with him walking into what looks like the apartment gym or the hotel gym, and he is fucking shredded.
He's always been a specimen.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make. I'm glad you brought that up. He's always been this super, he's clearly high dopamine. He was famous because of his addictions, and he was very famous both as an athlete and also an athlete that was breaking the rules. But in the athlete scene, he was the one that would party harder than everybody else. And then he would rock up at training like literally the morning. He'd be barely slept, completely hungover or whatever, and have maybe a night on the gear as well. But then he would then out-train everyone. Yeah. And so there's two things I want to have on that, is that there are people that are just always naturally going to be a bit of a specimen, and they're always going to have that tendency to be very, very lean. So it's important to understand that and understand that that is somewhat of an advantage for these people. But what he has to now deal with is stress management, and it's harder for him to navigate stress. So he still has his own challenges, which makes him a human. The other thing that I want to say to that is, if you're comparing yourself to an individual like this, yes, a physique of similar nature may be possible, but you still have to start from where you are now and build yourself from where you are now. And then generally I'd encourage you to pick people that seem more like you, that are further ahead of your journey. So pick wisely, and just remember there are some fucking savages out there. And it's so cool. I just like seeing him fucking getting at it. And I'm like, yeah, I just like watching him play footy as well. Yep. So that was our, that's my little Ben Cousins training clip as well. Cool. Nav's got a bit of a, do you want to?
I can run through this real quick and then we'll do a camera reset mystery item.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So I got a couple of questions for Josh over here. I got guess the calories.
Guess the calories. Here we go.
Where did I put it? I think I have it. All right. So let's go with the first one. This one should be a fairly easy one. You're not cheating, are you? What are you?
I'm just from a calculator.
I thought it was going on Google.
No. Just in case I want to calculate some macro.
I'm watching him, guys. I'm watching him. All right. So we're going to go with a full sugar can of Coke, 375 ml Coke.
Oh, fuck.
How many calories is in one of those?
I'm going to go with... a can?
A whole can.
375 ml.
375, yeah.
I think these are about 60% sugar. I'm going to go with 182 calories.
Oh, 161. So not far off.
Fuck.
Which means it's like 40 grams of carbs. That's just pure carbs.
That's what I did. I did 40 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
And then I times that by 4, obviously 160. Then I was like, maybe add a couple of extra on. I should have gone with 40 grams.
Close. Let's go with, do you know this one?
40 grams of sugar.
You know, sure, I think you'll be very close.
Is it Gatorade?
It is.
It's either 33 or 36 grams of sugar.
Oh, which is like...
so...
12, yeah.
Let's go 126.
140.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's on one of your higher edges. So you're within the range that you mentioned. So if you're having a Gatorade, 600 mils, 140 calories. Let's go with this. You might not know this one actually because you don't have these, but a lot of people have these, so I'm intrigued.
What are they?
Full sugar Red Bull 250 ml can.
A 250 ml can full sugar Red Bull.
Yeah.
They've got to have at least, I'm going to go 28 grams of sugar per can, 112.
117.
Ooh!
Really close. How absurd is that? That's basically a Gatorade.
But that's a tiny...
with caffeine as well, and in a tiny 250 mils, which is like nearly a third of what a Gatorade is.
That's probably the worst.
Yeah, no electrolytes, nothing included like what you would get from a Gatorade.
No,
and
just
people pop them daily.
They smash them.
Let's go with one more. this one's an intriguing one, but a protein shake, a pre-made one that you'll buy
Like
from...
an RTD.
Yeah, 500 ml bottle that you'll buy from the shops or just from a dispenser.
I'm going to go with 220.
Yeah, so it's anywhere from 220 to 450.
Oh, wow.
Obviously the range is so high, because if you're getting a protein, like a heavy protein shake, which is probably why you went in a low range, because no way you're touching one of these. But you know what I'm talking about, the protein ones that have like 25 grams of protein, but then it has like 30 grams of carbs as well, because it's just a sugar heavy with the milk involved as well.
Well, yeah.
450 calories.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Well,
mate, not for everyone, but... Oh, camera reset.
Perfect timing.
Calories. That last one, the
protein shake.
Yeah, protein shake. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. So obviously it depends on the individual. Like you would hope it will be mostly just athletes or people that can use the extra sugar post-workout. Because there are some people out... Well, if you're a professional, like, strongman, like Thor, or Eddie Hall, like, these guys would eat easily 10,000 plus calories a day.
Yeah.
So, like... And they're not necessarily trying to be lean or like they want to be big boys, you know. But if you're an everyday person, what are you doing messing with these protein shakes?
Yeah.
Not something to mess around with.
Yeah. Make your own. Just take the time. Make your own.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right. Mystery item.
Do you want to go first?
Yep. My mystery item is...
He had to go to his car earlier to go get it.
Yeah, I left it. I did a Coach Kirsty. I brought like 12 bags into the office.
I'm still doing it.
Sorry, Kirsty.
Here, throw Kirsty under the bus.
It's my running shoes. Yay. This is ASMR running shoes.
Not bad.
Oh yeah, that's the top. Not bad. And then this is the soles. There we go. But look, a pair of runners is an underrated piece of gym equipment. Generally, you don't really need to be wearing runners in the gym. You should have a barefoot shoe or train in Crocs. No, train in a barefoot-friendly gym. But what I'm getting at is that still to this day, outdoor movement and outdoor fitness, or what's commonly known as cardio, is just completely neglected. And it's one of the biggest things that you can do for giving your metabolism a reason to function is train your cardiovascular system, your cardiorespiratory system, giving your body more of an aerobic training stimulus by getting out, hiking, running, jogging, walking. You don't have to be jogging crazily, but it's just more about considering the fact that your heart rate training is a big factor to that. And then that gives you more of a reason to use these carbohydrates that your body's consuming, and it also gives you the ability to sweat more and push fluids and move more. It's just our human bodies are biomechanically designed. I like the term optimized more. They have that hardwired engineering to run, and they have that ability to run far.
Including the lymphatic system.
Yes. Yeah, it's super crucial. So it's my running shoes because I am someone who has had a six-pack my entire 20s, and people are like, oh, it's because you're high dopamine or because you're lean and Asian and stuff. And I'm like, yes, I get that, and that has been an advantage. However, if you look at other people that are of the same type as me, they're also ex-athletes or high-performing athletes, or you look at family members that come from my same bloodline, if they don't have the same lifestyle that I do, they haven't had a six-pack for their entire time as well. And so running and doing outdoor sport has been a big part of my fitness journey, and one of the reasons why I'm lean all year round, because I enjoy sport. Navar, mystery item.
Ooh, mine's super exciting. It is a timer.
Hey!
I actually bought this. It's just a standard cooking timer.
Oh, nice.
But I use it when I work, and it's just nice. I just put the timer on and look at it while I'm working or whatever. I get distracted and I go, okay, well, I'm meant to do 45 minutes minimum of non-distracted work. So I'll look at the time and I make sure that's hit before I even allow myself to get distracted. And that's really good. But it doesn't just apply to work. I find I do the same with every other aspect of what I need within my life. So if I need to hydrate, I allow time for that. If I need to sleep, I allow time for that. If I need to exercise, I allow time for that. If I need to run or get my non-exercise activity thermogenesis up, I allow time for that as well. And that's basically the message is, if you want the result, if you want to be healthy and fit and performing at your best for all aspects of your life, which hopefully we inspired you to be from this podcast, then just simply put the time into the basic foundational habits that will allow you to do that. Because if you don't, then the time's going to get away from you, and then in future time, you might be in a worse situation, and it's going to be far, far, far more harder in the future. Which we experience with some of our older clients, unfortunately.
Yeah. Nice work.
Beautiful.
Good timer. That's a sick timer. I want one.
So I got it from Kitchen Warehouse.
Yeah, nice. I want to get one of them tomato timers for the Pomodoro.
Yeah.
It's just an actual tomato. It's just sick. Little tomato ratchet thing. So that's a wrap, guys. We have finished our episode of episode 26, the benefits of always staying lean, the secrets to sustainable health and fitness. As always, if you are interested in understanding what we do more, you can find us through social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and mainly YouTube is where our focus is going. All of our longer form content, including this podcast, is hosted on YouTube. The podcast itself, you should know where it is because you're listening to it. So it's on Spotify and wherever else it ends up. And if you want to know more about our services, you can do so by www.smacademy.com.au, and you can contact us directly, or you can even buy our services. You can give us your money, because that's all we care about is your money. We don't care about your results. We just want to be rich. Is that right?
I'm already rich with love.
Lame. Rich in golden showers. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next episode where we talk about hydration hacks and... There's another H word. Hydration hacks and... hydration hacks and... I didn't write it, did I?
He's lost it, guys.
Fuck, I've lost the plot. No, man. Don't just... Nah. Hydration... Hacks and happiness. Yay. All right. See you, everybody.
See you guys.